When it comes to saving me money or saving my family money or just Americans in general, you should support that. And if you look at all of these articles, it's like hundreds and hundreds of people in different posts and articles. They're just putting mad faces or they're laughing at it, just because they don't support a specific president.
You would always want to be on the side of having good credit.
You think pays to have good credit?
In this episode, I have some very exciting news to share for Americans. Donald Trump is attempting to cut credit card rates from 25 to 30% and make them have a cap of 10%. That means that's going to save Americans a lot of money. In today's world, the average household credit card balance is anywhere between $10,000 and $11,000. At a 25 to 30% APR rate, that would cost Americans 15 to 20 years on paying that balance down. At a cap of 10%, Americans can pay off that balance probably within 3 or 5 years. So, although that sounds very good, there's still a lot of crazy people in this world. And if you look at all of these articles online, people are actually reacting to these articles with mad faces. At some point, you have to put politics aside. I'm not a big politics guy, but when it comes to saving me money or saving my family money or just Americans in general, you should support that. And if you look at all of these articles, it's like hundreds and hundreds of people in different posts and articles. They're just putting mad faces or they're laughing at it, just because they don't support a specific president. I don't care which president does this. If they really actually get this passed through Congress, which I'm sure it has to go through, the president can't make this decision alone. Whoever can make this happen, I would fully support them on that particular topic. Now, anything else, I may not be too familiar with, but if it's something that's affecting me directly and is saving me money directly, or people that I know, or if I know this is a huge issue in this country, I will fully support that. But yeah, at a 10% credit card interest rate cut or a cap, that would save Americans a lot of money. Because right now what's happening is, let's say if you have a $10,000 balance, what's happening is every minimum payment that you make, let's say if you're making a $200 minimum payment per month, well, when interest gets added after the due date or around the statement date, probably $180 goes right back on the card because of the interest. So realistically, you're paying off a $10,000 balance and you're only paying $20 towards it, or only $20 after interest is going towards the principal, and it would probably take a decade for $20 to pay off $10,000. So again, the president alone probably cannot make this happen. Like I said, it has to go through Congress. And like I said, I'm not a big politic guy. I don't know what all steps it has to go through, but it has to be approved through people outside of Donald Trump. If the president alone can make decisions, anyone can get in the White House and make this their world pretty much. So again, this is something that can really save a lot of money for Americans. Now, Donald Trump's goal is to have this passed or have this completed by January 20th, which is in a week or so, or maybe 2 weeks. So again, if this really does happen, this is going to help a lot of Americans, especially those people who have credit scores that are bad or that are affected by having high credit card balances. So as those credit cards get paid down, their credit scores are going to go up because their utilization or their usage has lowered a lot. Something else, I do see a side effect or a kickback on this. Banks make money by charging these crazy credit card fees or these crazy credit card interest rates. Banks make money by doing that. So if you cut their money or you cut their profit, they're also going to cut what the consumer can use. So in my opinion, if somebody have a $10,000 credit card or a $15,000 credit card and is maxed out, well, banks want you to have that limit because they see that you're just paying them free interest because you can't pay it off. In my honest opinion, if Donald Trump can get the credit card rates to cap at 10%, well, that $15,000 credit card is now going to be a $10,000 credit card once the balance gets to $10,000, and then eventually it may get down to $5,000 as far as the credit card limit. You kind of see where I'm going here. So as you pay those balances down, the limit is also going to lower or decrease, which means your credit card usage stays the same and it's still going to be maxed out. So I think banks are going to make it harder for people to get approved for credit cards if they're not able to make as much money. And don't get me wrong, 10% APR, that is still a lot of interest on credit card balances. So for those who are new to the It Pays to Have Good Credit podcast or the world out there, you shouldn't be using your credit cards to pay minimum payments anyway. You should only use your credit card to make rewards on things that you already have to pay for every month. Your utility bills, your gas in your vehicle, your car insurance, things that you know you can pay off within 30 days and you have to pay regardless. You don't use credit cards, or at least for those who follow this podcast platform, you do not use your credit card on things that you think you can pay off within a few months. No, because then you're going to get yourself in a bind, and credit card interest is no joke. It's going to take you a decade to pay that stuff off, and those balances just keep stacking and stacking and stacking. So again, you only wish to use your credit card on things that you know you can pay off within 30 days and things that you have to pay off every single month. Things that come regularly, grocery shopping, utility bills, gas for your vehicles, lunch breaks at work, things like that. So, you want to make the extra 2 to 3% cash back throughout the year, and don't focus on how much money you're making. Don't compare yourself to someone else. Someone like a business owner who has hundreds of thousands of dollars of expenses that they have to pay for every single year, and they know they have the money to pay for it regardless. Yeah, they're going to make thousands and thousands and thousands, probably tens of thousands of dollars in cash back rewards. Now, someone who has a regular job that may be only making $50,000 a year, and their expenses that they can use a credit card for, things like their light bill, their phone bill, a few thousands of dollars per year, that person may only make $500 a year in cash back. At the end of the day, if somebody come up to me and say, "Hey Chris, you want a free $500?" I would take it. So don't compare yourself to someone else thinking, "Oh, well, I'm only going to make $300 or $400 for the year if I use my credit card on things that I can pay off every single year." Don't look at it at that. Just look at it as it's free money if you use it correctly, because if you use it incorrectly, that credit card interest is just going to defeat the whole purpose of you using your credit to your advantage. So that is all for this episode. I really wish that this is something that gets passed through the White House and Congress and all of that stuff. Once it does do that, agencies like the CFPB, which is Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, I'm sure they will have to kick in and actually regulate or make sure banks are enforcing this, or make sure they enforce this to the banks, so banks are actually, doing this and capping things at 10%. So if you have one of these credit cards and your balances are paid off through the roof, or not paid off, your balances are piled up to the roof. This video here, this episode, you're listening to it versus watching this episode, you really need to stay up to date with this, because if rates get cut from 25% down to 10%, you can take advantage of this and get out of credit card debt. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. If you wish to be a guest on our podcast, visit SturgisCreditRepair.com and click the podcast page to schedule an episode. If you need help with your credit, you can also sign up at SturgisCreditRepair.com and start your free trial today.
Sturgis Credit Repair. Sturgis Credit Repair. If you want a new house, call us.